Hi there! So it's been a while since I last reported on my digital product Etsy shop, and honestly, I thought I wasn't gonna do any more of these. But the amount of people who've been reaching out, leaving comments, and saying they want to keep following along this journey really surprised me. So before anything else, I just want to say thank you for that. It means a lot. Now, if you haven't seen my last update, the last report I made was back in June, where I shared that I got about $950 in revenue, but only $231 in profit. Since then, I've been reflecting a lot on where I want to take the shop, and my big goal is still to reach $10,000 a month from Etsy. And I realized there are basically two ways to scale to get there. The first option is to scale vertically, meaning I take the digital products that are already performing well and make even more variations like different design styles, color schemes, or tailoring it to different audiences. A second option is to scale horizontally, which means expanding into new product categories entirely, even outside of digital products, and maybe even to physical ones. And so after thinking it over for a while, I actually decided to start mixing in print-on-demand products with my digital products in the same shop. Now, this isn't entirely a new practice to me. In my other Etsy shop that sells mainly physical products, I use digital products as loss leaders to gain some momentum in my shop. And I know some of you have subscribed to this channel for my digital product updates, and it might feel like I'm betraying that team a little bit. But don't worry, I haven't given up on digital products entirely. It's just that right now, I feel like what I've been doing so far, though it has brought me consistent sales, hasn't gotten me where I want to be fast enough. So I'm currently in this experimenting phase where I want to take some risks. And let me explain why I think adding print-on-demand products might actually make sense in this shop. So in my other Etsy shop where I sell apparel like t-shirts and sweaters, I don't hold any inventory. I use the print-on-demand business model, meaning I just create the design and then a company, which is Printify in my case, handles all the printing and shipping directly to customers. They've been a really reliable partner for me, and I've been using them for a while now. But this time, I didn't want to just add t-shirts again. I wanted to branch out into other product types. So I did a deep dive into Printify's catalog, which is massive by the way, and then cross-referenced that with market research tools like Everbee to spot product opportunities that would make sense for my existing customer base. Now, I haven't shared my exact niche publicly, and that's been intentional. It took me a lot of work to find those product opportunities, and the reality is, copycat culture is everywhere on YouTube and on Etsy. Tools like Everbee, Allura, and eRank also make it super easy for people to reverse engineer what's working for other sellers. So for my own protection, I'm keeping that part private for now. But think of it like the Krabby Patty secret formula, right? It might be gatekeepy, but it's also just business. But here's a clue I can give you. Etsy is clearly positioning itself as a gifting platform. And when you look at Printify's catalog, it's not just t-shirts. There's home decor, pet products, accessories, tech items, and can you believe it, even coffee and beauty products. So when you think about gifting and how many different ways you can tailor products for different occasions and customer bases, the potential is almost unlimited. Now, once I picked a physical product to test, I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if it would work, but I gave myself 1 month to test it, and the results were actually pretty interesting. Check this out. So because I didn't do any reporting on July, I'm just gonna include this. And also, this is when I started adding print-on-demand products to my shop. So I thought this was worth sharing. In July, my shop got 3,972 visits. And you'll notice this weird spike from July 22 to 26. I thought it was a good thing, but when I dug into the stats, I saw that most of that traffic went into one of my core digital products, and none of those visits converted into sales, so my overall conversion rate tanked. I had been sitting at around 5% for almost the past year, and this caused it to drop down to 2.3%. My guess is that either a YouTuber or a blog featured my product, and then a bunch of other Etsy sellers clicked in just to spy on it. Honestly, it was pretty frustrating, so I actually deactivated that product temporarily until things went back to normal. Even with that hiccup, I still ended the month with 92 orders, And here's the cool part, 14 of those orders were for the new physical products that I just introduced. That right there validated the idea that it had potential demand. So in total, I made $1,137 in revenue for July. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know I like to run ads. I had actually turned off ads for my digital products for a while, but I decided to run ads for the new physical products to aggressively introduce them into the market. And since they have higher margins, I felt more comfortable with the ad spend. And here's what happened. I got 212 ad clicks and 7 orders from these advertised listings. I spent $78 and made back about $284 in revenue, which works out to a ROAS of 3.64%. Now for my products to break even, I need at least a 2.6 ROAS, so this was pretty good for me. In terms of profit, Etsy showed about 49,000 pesos, or roughly $857. But of course, we have to account for Printify fulfillment costs, which came to about $337. So the actual net profit for July was around $520, or 29,700 pesos. Which I think isn't bad at all, especially since June had been slow. And July is also generally considered a slow month for Etsy overall, but I'm happy with that. Now let's move on to August. My shop had 2,969 visits, and with a 3.5 conversion rate, that translated to 105 orders. Of those orders, 40 were for the physical products and 65 for the digital ones. That brought in $2,121.21 in revenue, which is an interesting number. And it was really exciting for me because it's the first time that I crossed the $2,000 revenue mark. Now, something important happened in August. Etsy rolled out major changes to their ad system. And now there are 3 new campaign types to choose from when running ads. First is increase your orders, which focuses on visibility and sales, but at higher costs. Second is balance orders with return, which tries to balance volume, revenue, and profitability by targeting relevant buyers. Third is increase your return, which is more conservative, prioritizing profitability, but at the cost of fewer orders. This was intimidating at first, but I decided to go with option number 2, which is balance orders with return, because it seemed like the sweet spot between volume and profitability. And so far, I'm happy with the results. For ads, I got 429 clicks and 18 orders from these listings. I spent $212 and made back $742, giving me a ROAS of 3.49. As for profit, Etsy shows 95,561 pesos, or about $1,671 after fees and ad spend. But again, I had to deduct Printify costs, which were about $950. So the actual net profit came out to $721, or 41,000 pesos. And that's actually the highest monthly profit I've had so far in my 14 months of selling on Etsy. And that's not all. I also want to share the numbers from my other Etsy shop, the one where I sell mostly shirts and sweaters, so we could get a bigger picture of how much I actually made from Etsy in general for the month of August. So for this store, August was relatively slow since I didn't really add that many new listings, and it's because I got distracted from my other shop. But with around 300 active listings, it was mostly on autopilot. I got 1,032 visits and a 2.3 conversion rate, which translated to 24 orders. That's about $539 in revenue. But after deducting Printify costs and fees, the net profit was $117, which, funny enough, is also the highest profit I've ever made from this shop in a month. It's a slow-growing shop, but hey, at least it's staying afloat. So altogether, between both shops, August brought in $2,660 in revenue and about $838 in profit, or around 47,900 pesos. Considering I only work on this a couple of hours a day and not even every day, I'm really happy with that. Adding print-on-demand products from Printify has definitely changed the trajectory of both of my shops. And I have a few theories as to why I think this has been working so well. First is SEO leverage. One of the biggest challenges with opening a brand new Etsy shop is building keyword traction. Etsy doesn't know you, your listings don't have sales history, and it takes some time to earn that trust from the algorithm. But my digital product shop already had a track record. It had 1,800 orders and almost 100 reviews, and perhaps gained solid rankings through the keywords that I have been targeting. So when I introduced physical products into the mix, I didn't have to start from scratch. And because these products were within the same category or shared a target market as my digital products, I would use the same short-tailed keywords. And those new listings got to ride the wave of SEO momentum that I had already built with my digital products. Etsy already knew my shop was relevant for certain searches, so the physical items had a better chance at showing up right away. Second is consistent targeting. A lot of people make the mistake of adding random products to their shop, things that don't connect with each other. So what ends up happening is you confuse the customer. Imagine going into a shop that sells wedding invitations and then suddenly seeing a listing for Christmas dog hoodies. That doesn't really make sense, right? For me, both my digital and physical products are designed for the same audience. They solve similar problems or fit into the same lifestyle. So when shoppers land in my store, there's no disconnect. Someone might come in for a digital template and then notice a physical item that they can either keep for themselves or give away. It creates this little ecosystem where my products have the potential to cross-sell naturally. So this mix of SEO momentum, consistent audience targeting, and gifting appeal has made my shop feel more complete. And I think that's why the results have been so encouraging. So yeah, that's how adding print-on-demand products has shifted things for me. It showed me that my shop doesn't have to be locked into just one lane and that I can scale in multiple directions without losing focus on my core customer. That's huge for me as I think about where I want the shop to be in the next year. Anyway, that's all I've got for this update. Thanks again for following along on this journey, and I really appreciate you being here. It makes sharing these reports way more fun. And if you found this helpful, please give it a like. And if you want to see where this experiment takes me next, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.